This is David Prosper, host of The Leadership Revolution. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast from Public House Media.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Your Life Matters podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mariah White, and I am a passionate pediatric nurse practitioner and fired up health and happiness coach here to deliver a message to you. This podcast is meant to provide a hope and a dream that fuels your soul to dream big and to dream bold and to inspire and empower you to live out your wildest freaking dreams and to grab a hold onto the unwavering truth that you were made for more. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Your Life Matters podcast. I am so proud, humbled, and excited that you are here. For all my devoted listeners, what's up, fam? You are just my heartbeat. You've been there every step of the way, and I'm just forever grateful. For those of you who are new listeners, I'm so excited that somebody told you about this or you were searching for the remembrance that your life matters. And if that's the case, I'm going to start you off with one of my truest affirmations. I want you to put your hand over your heart. And those of you who are my devoted listeners, you already know where I'm going. I want you to feel all the feels. Put your hand over your heart if you're driving. Just put one hand. If you can, close your eyes. And I want you to really repeat silently in your heart, soul, and mind after me. I am wanted. I am needed. I am worthy. I am loved. And I am more than enough. So I want to remind you guys, especially for those of you who are brand new to the Your Life Matters podcast community, that you have so much value, and I'm so humbled and excited that you're here. I just have to say, I am so incredibly grateful for you guys as this community. You guys are devoted listeners. Time after time, I hear how many downloads each episode is producing and how many people are sharing it and how many people are downloading it to their podcast to listen to, i.e. on the plane or traveling or driving. And it literally lights my soul on fire because I have listeners, devoted listeners all over the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia. I have like a fan page over in France, a ton of people in India. And if you are in those places, or if I forgot a place that you're in, please let me know. I want you to tag me. I want you to screenshot this episode, tag me, tell me your favorite quote, DM me what it's done for you. And I really would love for you to leave a rating and review. Why? Because that's how podcasts work. I really don't ever talk about it because at the end of the day, my purpose is to serve you regardless of ratings, reviews, top anything. But our goal, our mission from the start 3 years ago was to be a top 100 podcast. And that is my goal, mission, and focus, because I want to give you guys a community where you can feel uplifted and empowered and inspired to continue to implement tangible things into your day and into your life and into your journey. So if you haven't yet, please leave a rating and review. If you have already, go grab another person's phone and leave a rating and review, because that would be so incredibly appreciative for me and the producers and the people who put so much heart and effort at Public House Media to make this podcast happen. So today I wanted to share with you. So I am coming off my very first trip, flying during COVID 2020 pandemic. I was invited for the second year in a row to a top retreat for all of the elite and premier coaches on Team Rockstar Fit, which is the founder of that is my mentor, Trina Gray. So every year she takes her top of the top coaches on her downline and takes them to Chicago, where she wines and dines, puts us in a limo, spa day, does a photo shoot. And I mean, Chicago has been on my bucket list. It's a bucket list city. It's amazing. I definitely want to go back. It's definitely a little bit interesting. Like the Chicago bean was marked off, so we couldn't really go see it. Like all the things in a pandemic, right? Hashtag, I never thought I'd say that, but it was a remarkable city. We had a hotel suite by the Navy Pier that outlooked that. And when I woke up in the morning, each morning, it was like magical. And I'm coming off that high. And while I was heading there, I actually was a part of a seminar that was hosted by Dean Graziosi, but multiple top leaders in the motivation era was speaking. Trent Shelton, Tony Robbins, Jenna Kutcher, Nick Santostasso, I can never say his name right, or yes, Pete Vargas, Brendon Burchard, like all of these incredible, remarkable speakers were talking. And the whole premise of the seminar was the power to pivot. And I really wanted to talk about that today. I wanted to share some things that resonated with me from that seminar, but also that I want to give to you as takeaway, take home, or tangible items for you to implement. Because right now, especially, and I'm dating this podcast episode, we are literally in September. It's going to, when you listen to this, be the 22nd of 2020. We are 7, almost 8 months in on this global pandemic that has literally rocked our world. And then within that, Black Lives Matter skyrocketed. Just recently, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the notorious RBG, passed away. The fighter for feminist rights and equality, our equality for our LGBTQ community, equality for color, has passed on. 87 years of just heart, hustle, grind, and devotion. And we are sitting here in a scary time. It's upon the election, and we're here. And this is not a political spiel. This is not a COVID spiel. But I am saying this is a year where we have had to find the power in pivoting. So you could sit there and think, well, Mariah, this year just sucks. It's a wash. And I've talked in multiple episodes throughout this year to help you understand that life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. And life is less about what happened to you and more about how you respond to it. So don't let the hard keep you away from what you should do or could do or you're capable of. If you remember that life is less about what happened to you and more about the meaning of life, you will learn to have a better perspective. You will learn to let go of the limitations. So I'm going to ask you right now, maybe you're surviving and not thriving. I want you to thrive and not survive. Go back to that episode that I recorded about thriving, not just surviving through this pandemic. And I'm going to ask you a question. What will happen if you don't pivot? I want you to take a second and describe the best and worst case scenario if you chose not to pivot during this time, if you chose to give up, if you chose to just survive through this time, not thrive through it. What's the best case scenario if you decided not to pivot? Well, things wouldn't change. You would go day in and day out in normalcy of new normal. You would get through this pandemic and it would be over. What's the worst case scenario? You just went through this pandemic. You just survived through it. Now I want you to think about, what if you did pivot? What's the best case scenario if you pivoted? Do you attack your dreams? Do you write the book that you've been wanting? Do you start the podcast that you've been urging to? Do you help somebody? Do you start that business even though this seems like a crazy time to do it? Do you sit there and dive into your marriage? Start to seek out a virtual counselor? Do you start to spend more present moments with your children because you realize that life is short? And what's the worst case scenario if you pivot? So you start the book and you don't finish it? You do the podcast and you don't really like it? You open the business and then you close it. Do you die? No. Are you seen as the ultimate failure? No. Because life, my friends, is about failing. You have to fail in order to move your life forward. You have got to be comfortable with failing. And Nick, such a powerful man with one arm, mind you, spoke, and he said, focusing on the negative will not serve you. Develop a good relationship with failure, because if failure is a friend, you will learn until the end. If failure is a foe, you will never grow. I literally got chills reading that and saying it. I'm going to say it again. If failure is a friend, you will learn until the end. If failure is a foe, you will never grow. Stop allowing limiting beliefs to hold you back from the pivot. There is so much power in the pivot that you are not even seeing. So many people are embarrassed to start the dream because it seems small. Guys, when I first started this podcast, it was a little podcast that my friends and my teammates would listen to. And I said, please post about it, share it with somebody. I would send it out. I would post it on Instagram. I would post it on Facebook, knowing that not a whole lot of people would listen to it. But if perfection would have stopped me, we wouldn't be here 3 years later. Now, if I go to my business, a $160 investment, mind you, my Nikes probably cost more than that. My Lululemon leggings and a sports bra cost more than that. You guys ordering food every night, takeout and delivery during this COVID time costs more than that. $160 investment 4.5 years ago led to a 6-figure income business. Now, Beachbody doesn't guarantee any source of income without diligence, hard work, and effort. However, $160 investment was what I needed to start a business. I started a business with $160, not $160,000 like most businesses cost. I didn't have to refinance and take a loan out for my house in order to start this business that now has generated more income than I see as a Doc NP annual salary. Why? Because I realized that I had to share my gift. I had to speak and allow people to hear me, because I had to sit there and say, my life matters. I took a second chance at life. I didn't make a permanent decision to a temporary problem, and now I need to share it with everyone I know and yell it to the rooftops. So I joined and partnered with Beachbody. I got into the best shape of my life. I surrounded myself with incredible humans, and voila. Now I have this amazing business. I work with people that I love genuinely, and I'm literally building a life of freedom for my family. All from a decision to start something small and not being stopped by embarrassment or perfection. So I want you to think about what you could pivot now in this moment, in this time, in this period of COVID, and how you could launch yourself forward. How you can literally help yourself and your future self to see a change. Life is less about what happens to you and more about how you use your time. Trent Shelton said that, and it was so powerful. Use what happened in the past to build your future and fall in love with the process. Guys, things take time. Time is universal. It doesn't stop for anyone. It doesn't change. But this is what I'm going to say to you. If you and I, with the same amount of time, if I get up at 4 and you get up at 8, if I work hard and you work hard sometimes, and years pass, 4.5 to be exact, and you could have said, I should have joined her 4.5 years ago. Not saying you can't join me now, but that time compounded over time. It's like the compound effect. You see the progress and you see what happens over time. It's falling in love with the process. You will find success if you continue to show up. You will find success if you continue to do the things that you were meant to do. So I'm asking you right now, during this time that I'm talking with you, how can you pivot in your life to continue to see remarkable success? How could you shift right now in this month of September to go from surviving to thriving? How could you move the needle right now and go towards the direction of your wildest dreams? What can you do right now in this moment in order to have massive success? I'm asking you humbly to choose you. I'm asking you humbly to go after your wildest dreams and to believe in the power of the pivot. Guys, I hope that you took away some tangible things. I know when I first listened to these amazing speakers, I had so many takeaways. It was outrageous. And I want you to know that you can too. I want you to know that you will have the absolute success if you choose to thrive instead of survive. All right, guys, I love you with all my heart. Again, take a screenshot, tag me on your social media, let me know what your greatest takeaway was, and just know your life matters. I love you guys. I hope you have an awesome day.
What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of the Your Life Matters podcast. I'm so grateful that you're here. I just ask that you share this episode with somebody. I ask you to just share it and give it to somebody who could potentially need to hear this message. I really am on a mission to help hundreds of thousands of people to believe that their mess is their message and that their story really does matter. And that above all, their life matters. I'm so grateful that you're here. I want you to share this episode. And then on top of that, if you could please leave a rating or a review or both. Let me know what speaks to you. Let me know what you need to hear. Let me know what you've connected with, because that's going to be the best way that I can make sure that I'm giving you guys exactly what you need. I love you guys with all my heart. I'm so grateful for you, and I want you to know the difference and the impact you guys make in my life. I love seeing your messages. I love seeing when you guys private message me or screenshot it and share it on Instagram or Facebook, because it lets me know that this podcast is doing exactly what it was meant to do. And it's to make sure that there's an impact being made and to help remind you and everyone else that your life matters.